Well, let's bring in our man, Gene Principe. Gino, I feel a little sheepish here from Sportsnet Oilers broadcast, sitting in your chair.
Yeah.
What's it look like from your end?
You know what? A tad uncomfortable when you see someone sitting in your spot. I wonder, are there any puns written underneath there that I left behind, or props? Anything from the end of the season? No, I cleared it out. Hey, I knew you'd be there.
Yeah. Hayes for horses, Gino. Hey, look, 34th anniversary of the Gretzky trade. Would you mind starting there?
Yeah.
I don't know what your hometown is, but is that acknowledged at all in this town, or is it such a painful, traumatic memory they wouldn't even talk about it?
You know, Rod, I remember doing I think it was a 20-year special on Wayne. Craig Simpson, our Sportsnet Hockey Night in Canada analyst and colleague, was with Wayne at the time. He'd gone down to visit Wayne and Janet at that time and was kind of there. And I remember interviewing Craig about it, and Wayne certainly has talked about it many times. I think it used to be a yearly thing, Rod, and now it's become kind of every 5 years. And now at 34 years, I'm sure at 35, again, it'll be a big deal. But I don't know of any Oiler fan or Edmontonian who doesn't sort of wake up on August 9th, and whether it's, on your phone or on a real calendar like we used to, you see August 9th and boom, first thing that you think of is that was the day Wayne Gretzky was traded. I was actually working for CFRN TV. I just kind of started my career back then, and I was working out of Grand Prairie as a northern stringer / correspondent. And I remember calling back to the station, and it was just a beehive. I could just hear a bunch of noise in the background. We didn't have the social media we have nowadays, and I asked what happened, and they said, Wayne Gretzky just got traded. I'm like, what? So I think everybody remembers kind of where they were or how they found out, and they always will. I mean, a deal like that, we often hear now, well, if Wayne Gretzky could get traded, anyone can, which is true.
It changed sports forever in that vein. I will come back to the Oilers in a second, but the World Juniors is why we're here. I understand you're going to be down in the rink later on this afternoon. Listen, the NHL bubble was here. They tried the World Juniors last year and it got interrupted. This is the hockey capital. This town seems pretty turned on to the fact the World Juniors are here for a summer tournament.
Yeah, I agree, Rod. It was strange. I normally don't cover World Juniors when they've been in Canada and certainly in Edmonton, because my coverage with the Oilers generally, if the World Juniors are located in Edmonton, then that means the Oilers aren't. They're usually on an extended road trip. So it's nice to be here and be a part of it. I think it's starting to get there. It's a matter of just getting people's minds in the idea that hockey is here. The Gretzky or Hlinka Gretzky Cup certainly helps, which was just down the road, and that always happens this time of the year. I think people are really excited, and I know that there are some players, and I get it, that have decided to bypass because they want to get ready for what might be their first NHL camp or second or third. But lots of talent, including a young guy who plays in your neck of the woods, in Connor Bedard. Mason McTavish is here, and so many others. And I think while it may start about who's here, Rod, in the end, it'll be all about the maple leaf on the front. That's all people really will care about is Canada and what they're able to accomplish.
Well, having said that, though, you brought up Connor Bedard, and I kind of got a kick out of the fact I'm in McDavid's house, but for 2 weeks it's the other Connor's house, and we can't ignore it. Listen, you're going to see him live. Have you seen him live before, man? He's all that, Gene, and you hear his name in hockey circles every day. That's what I'm going to be watching for, Connor Bedard.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I watched a bit of him. There was a doubleheader last year where Bedard was in town facing off against the Oil Kings during, I think it was like a 1 or 2 o'clock start. And then the Oilers played that night, and I had a chance to watch him a bit. And, it's kind of like Connor McDavid. I heard tons about him, but playing out east back then for Erie, it was sort of difficult to really get a feel for what the kid was like until you see them in person. And I've had a chance to see Connor McDavid in person a long time since then, and I look forward to watching Connor Bedard. I mean, he's a kid. I mean, it's so ironic that he's got the same first name. I'm not so sure they're exactly the same kind of players from that standpoint, but I will say this. They both put you on the edge of your seat with their talent, skill, vision, skating, checklist of things that these two young men have. And I think Bedard's going to be great. And that's a big seller to have this young guy here wanting to play. And I'm real curious to see how he does.
Well, there are many things about you that I appreciate, Gene, and you're going to laugh at this, but one of is your age. I said to a Pats fan, I'm trying to figure out who Bedard reminds me of, and they said, Marcel Dion. And I'm like, Yes! Yeah. And when I say that to young hockey fans, whoop, no clue. Yeah. No clue. So you appreciate Marcel Dion. That's not a bad guy to be compared to.
Not at all. I know Connor is like Marcel. Marcel was built like a fire hydrant. I don't think Marcel was any taller than, I'm going to say 5'8", but he was like, his shoulders were thick, like a real thick man, strong. I'm going off the top of my head, Rod. I think he scored like 717 goals in the National Hockey League. Played on one of the most famous lines ever, the Triple Crown line with Charlie Simmer and Dave Taylor back in the 80s, and was an unbelievable talent. One of those guys who's an all-time great, unfortunately never had a chance really to win a Stanley Cup, which is something that I know Connor Bedard one day will want, and Connor McDavid wants it right now. But Marcel Dion is a fantastic comparison to Connor Bedard. Gosh, if he has half or 2/3 or 3/4 of the career Dion has, he'll be a 500-plus goal scorer minimum.
For sure. And two things on that. One, we had Charlie Simmer on this show from Austin, Texas. I brought up the comparison. Charlie said, I hope he's taller than Marcel. And two, I would have liked to have seen Marcel Dion at 17, because I don't think he'd have been any bigger than what Connor is now. Lastly, I was going through some old clips of your appearances on this show, and this past season I asked you, like in January, early February, if you thought the Oilers were a Stanley Cup contender. You said yes, and I had a tough time stifling my smile, and they made it to the Final Four. Gene, so quite a turnaround, man, in your season of hosting Oilers broadcasts.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, June 6th was their final game of the season, which, when you're playing hockey in June, that means you got a chance to win the Stanley Cup. Running into Colorado was like running into, I guess, Marcel Dion, a bit of a brick wall. They go on to win the Stanley Cup against an unbelievable Tampa team who deserves a lot of credit for getting that close to making it a three-peat in this current era of the game. So the Oilers are set to go. They beefed up their lineup. They got a great goaltender in Jack Campbell that's coming to the team for long term. Everybody's under contract. Evander Kane surprised a few people, maybe partially for coming back here, but maybe more for the term and the AAV. People like to win, and I think, Rod, when you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team, and you're that close to winning, and you've got some offers that are similar, I think you're going to try and go north or south or west or east to end up in Edmonton, so you have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. It's great to have all this talent here, but you have to win for people to be attracted to come here. And Edmonton's got the talent, has found their winning ways, and I think are a real good shot at winning the Cup this year.
Here's one for you. Gene, I'll see you down at the rink later. Thanks for loaning us your spot. You said it's all about the logo. I'll try to leaf it the way I found it.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm sure you will. I know you're a very respectful guy, and if I have to share that desk with anyone, you'd be the guy that I'd want to do it with.
Thank you, Gino. Appreciate the time. See you down here.
Take care. See you, Ron.
Gene Principe from Sportsnet Oilers broadcast. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.